All right, so are you ready to dive deep?
Let's do it.
Today, we're talking techno music, a genre that many listeners have asked us to cover. We've got some really interesting notes from a podcast episode all about it.
Yeah, it should be cool to kind of like unpack it all.
Yeah, break it down. Techno, where did it even come from? What is it all about?
Well, maybe a little surprisingly, techno was actually born in Detroit.
Detroit. Okay, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, I know, right? Like when you think Detroit, you probably think Motown.
Yeah.
But get this, in the 80s, Detroit was this amazing mix of sounds. You had the legacy of Motown, obviously, but also there was like funk and electro coming up.
I see. So it was like a real melting pot of musical creativity, huh?
Exactly. And you had this whole new generation of musicians who were really getting into using new technology, like synthesizers and drum machines.
So that's where the electronic part comes in.
Right. And there was this German band, Kraftwerk. You ever heard of them?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They were using electronic instruments to create these really futuristic sounds, these soundscapes. And that really influenced the Detroit scene. In fact, there were these three guys, Juan Atkins, Derrick May, and Kevin Saunderson.
Wait, the Belleville Three.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. The Belleville Three. They're considered like the pioneers of techno. They took those Kraftwerk influences, mixed it with all the Detroit vibes, and boom, techno was born.
Wow, that's incredible. So they're like the godfathers of techno.
Pretty much,
So we know where it came from, but what about the sound? Like, what makes
Uh-huh.
techno techno?
it's all about the repetition.
Repetition, huh?
Yeah, like hypnotic driving beats. Usually it's a 4/4 time signature. And the melodies, they're really minimal.
So it's less about like a catchy tune.
Yeah, it's not about sing-along choruses, that's for sure.
Okay, but then what is it about? What are you supposed to like focus on?
It's all about the rhythm, the texture of the sound. You kind of like feel it more than listen to it.
Right.
And the instruments, they're really important for that, obviously. Synthesizers are huge, obviously. And drum machines, particularly the Roland TR-808 and TR-909.
Oh, I've heard of those, yeah. Aren't those the ones they use in like trap music and stuff?
They are. And also a lot of hip hop. But back in the 80s, they were brand new. And techno producers really embraced them, especially the 808 with its deep bass and snappy snares.
That's interesting. So didn't the 808 flop when it first came out?
It did. It wasn't popular at all. Nobody knew what to do with it. But then techno producers found it. They saw its potential, and it became like the backbone of the techno sound.
Wow, it's amazing how a machine that was supposed to be one thing became something totally different.
Yeah, it's almost like techno found the soul in that machine.
That's a great way to put it. So we've got this sound born in Detroit, but
Yeah.
how did it go global?
Well, it caught on pretty quickly in Europe, especially in Germany, and the Berlin club scene. There was this club called Trezor, which was super influential.
Trezor, I think I read that it was an old bank vault.
It was a real underground vibe.
Oh, I bet.
And then you had these massive festivals like the Love Parade, which drew like millions of people.
That's crazy. So from basements to mega festivals, that's quite the journey.
Yeah, it really spread quickly. And as it spread, it started to evolve. Different subgenres started to emerge.
Like what?
Well, you had minimal techno, which is like stripped down to the bare essentials.
Oh, okay.
And then acid techno, which uses the Roland TB-303 synthesizer to get these like really squelchy sounds.
Cool.
And of course, the original Detroit techno sound continued to evolve too. It's pretty amazing how diverse it's become.
It sounds like there's something for everyone in the techno world.
There really is. And it's not just about the music itself. It's also about the whole culture surrounding it.
Oh, right. I've heard techno has a really strong sense of community.
Yeah, it's very inclusive. It's about unity, about losing yourself in the music and connecting with everyone around you.
I bet that's even stronger when you see it live, right?
Absolutely. Seeing techno DJs live is like a spiritual experience for a lot of people. Guys like Carl Cox, Richie Houghton, Jeff Mills, they're like legendary figures.
Yeah, I can imagine. You're not just dancing, you're sharing this incredible experience.
Yeah.
So what about the future? Where's techno going next?
Well, it's definitely still evolving. We're seeing artists blend techno with other genres,
Interesting.
and they're using technology in new ways, pushing the boundaries of sound design. It's really exciting.
So it's still a cutting-edge genre.
Oh, for sure. One of the really interesting things happening is the use of AI in music production.
Oh, wow. AI.
Yeah, you can actually use algorithms to create unique techno tracks now. It's pretty mind-blowing. I think AI could really change the game for techno in the future.
That's fascinating. So as technology evolves, so does techno.
Exactly. It's a genre that's always looking forward, embracing new possibilities.
That's so cool. So I think we've learned a lot today. Techno is more than just a genre. It's this fusion of sound and culture that's constantly evolving, always pushing boundaries.
It is. And, it makes me think, with all this new technology available, what will techno sound like in 10 years, 20 years? It's really hard to predict, but I bet it's going to be amazing.
I bet so too.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect note to end on. If you've never explored the world of techno before, I encourage you to give it a try. You might just be surprised by what you discover. And if you're already a fan, well, keep your ears open, because the future of techno is going to be wild. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And until next time, keep diving deep.
Keep diving.
All right, that's a wrap.